Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
Palestinians from all factions across Israel and the territories are celebrating what was, for them, one of their biggest victories in quite a while. After nearly 2 weeks of extended protests and boycotts at the Temple Mount, Israel tore down the last of its controversial security measures: the metal detectors, the cameras, and the barriers. Israel put up the security after 3 teenage Palestinians murdered 2 Israeli police at the Temple Mount with guns they had smuggled into the holy site. Israel saw this as a monstrous terror attack, but the Palestinian world saw Israel's response as a direct challenge to their control over the Temple Mount. For them, it had nothing to do with security, it was all about sovereignty, and as soon as the metal detectors went up, the riots began. The Jordanian Waqf called for protests and boycotts outside the gates of the holy site until the status quo was restored, and both Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas and Hamas leaders called for days of rage at the Temple Mount. Now, the Palestinian world can sometimes be very divided, with different political factions like Hamas and the Fatah party working opposite each other to achieve similar goals. The fact that Palestinians were able to unite with grassroots strength like this is a rare win for them. Palestinian leaders are definitely hoping to keep the momentum going. The last of the security measures were taken down Thursday night, but so far the clashes have not stopped at the Temple Mount. IDF forces had a busy weekend as they dealt with a series of issues and clashes while conducting a number of overnight raids and arrests in the West Bank. Early Saturday morning, soldiers raided the offices of the Palestinian media group in Ramallah, seizing equipment and documents on suspicion of incitement to terror. Palestinian media report that Israel ransacked the offices and that stones were thrown at them by Palestinian citizens as they left. Later, over Saturday night, IDF soldiers conducted 2 more raids in the West Bank. One was in the Jenin refugee camp to arrest terror suspects. While there, 10 improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, were thrown at the IDF, who returned fire with non-lethal rounds. 15 suspects were arrested. In the second raid this morning, Israeli security forces seized vehicles paid for by Hamas as compensation to the families of Palestinian terrorists. Specifically, the families of the terrorists who, in October 2015, gunned down Eitan and Naama Henkin in a drive-by shooting attack. Neither the number of vehicles impounded nor the owners from whom they were taken were released by the IDF, but they did release a statement claiming the vehicles to be worth tens of thousands of shekels. A 22-year-old suspect has been shot and killed by Israeli police in Jaffa this weekend. The police are saying the suspect returned gunfire with his own weapon while attempting to flee the scene of a shooting at the Jaffa port. But Jaffa residents are seeing this as more of the same police aggression they've been feeling against the Arab minority for years. Hundreds took to the streets yesterday joining the funeral procession for the deceased suspect, and things quickly erupted into open protest against the Israeli police. An Israeli journalist was beaten and his camera was destroyed while covering the riots, which left Jaffa's main road with tire fires, stones, and violence. Joint Arab List Knesset member Khanin Zawabi is accusing the police of executing the man, quote, in cold blood, and her fellow Joint List Knesset member Dov Khanin has demanded the Israeli Attorney General open an investigation into the incident. But already, these clashes have been some of the worst we've seen in Jaffa in a long time. In continued protests outside Attorney General Avichai Mandelblatt's home, hundreds of Israelis demonstrated last night in PETAH TIKVAH against Mandelblatt's handling of criminal cases surrounding Prime Minister Netanyahu. The demonstrators are angry at the Attorney General's alleged delaying tactics in any one of the 4 cases implicating the Netanyahu family. One case, dubbed Case 1000, calls out the Prime Minister and his wife for graft in accepting hundreds of thousands of shekels worth of gifts like cigars and champagne from wealthy friends and benefactors. Case 2000 alleges that Netanyahu tried to trade hurting a business rival in exchange for good press from Yediot Achronot publisher Arnon Moses. No such deal was ever put into effect, but clips of recordings of the Prime Minister and Moses' dealings were released. In Case 3000, Netanyahu's personal attorney David Shimron and several others stand accused of bribery and corruption in the acquisition of $1.5 billion defense contract for German submarines. Netanyahu is not directly linked as a suspect in that case, but has been requested for testimony. Finally, in Case 4000, Netanyahu is accused of making decisions in favor of Israeli telephone and communications company Bezeq, while failing to disclose conflicting ties to Bezeq head Shaul Elovitz. Netanyahu and his family have denied any involvement or knowledge of wrongdoing, but one thing is for sure: the people are getting restless to find out the truth. 82-year-old Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas was admitted to a Ramallah hospital yesterday in what his spokesman has assured was just a routine checkup. Abbas is no stranger to health issues. He smokes, he's overweight, was treated for prostate cancer several years ago, has a stent in his heart to prevent blockages, and he received a heart catheterization last October. But following his release later on Saturday, Abbas's doctor has said, quote, "The president is in very good health," leaving them feeling reassured. Abbas was re-elected to be interim president of the Palestinian Authority in 2005. He is now in the 12th year of his 4-year term.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.